Well, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another round of I Do Reviewing Stuff. And in today's episode of Reviewing Stuff, today we're reviewing a cassette deck, which is a bit of a not too odd thing for this channel, but kind of odd enough. This one being the Pyle PT-649D, which is, which goes under a whole lot of other names, which I'll probably also list here. It's kind of the same deck, but some of them do have different features. I'll also list the differences here as well. But yeah, I got this thing because the deck that I really want to use, my CX350, it still needs to be fixed. It still needs a lot of fixing to be done. But I do want to have a cassette deck that's kind of on hand, that's just, not broken all the time or not broken at all. And yeah, I chose this one. Also, it was on sale because early Black Friday with Amazon, they sell these things for pretty cheap for then. And yeah, let's get right into looking at it. So, let's look at the packaging for this. Pretty simple. We got a little bag with a manual. Actually, it's a simple 4-page thing. I'll probably scan that in and put some screenshots up there so you can see how things are. Warranty stuff. And then there's in the standard Pyle satisfaction card, which is, again, I've worked with Pyle stuff before. It's kind of a standard kit for them. You got RCA jacks. Pretty simple. You just they're okay, I think, because they're what they give normally. And finally, you get some screws. Because if you look to the sides, they have these things, which are rack ears. So if you have a rack mount system, you can implement it in there, which is a really nice feature for a really cheap deck. A little bit of something. And then under that, quite simply, is the deck itself. I'm just going to change camera angles so we can get it right out. Alright, so here we are back at the front of this deck. The packaging wasn't the absolute best because looks like I lost the record level thing, but we could just pop that right back on there. So the funny thing is that this deck, this isn't my first time working with this or hearing about this, because I initially got introduced to this thing through the V Westlife YouTube channel, where he did a review of the thing, and seems like it's a pretty good deck from his review, but we'll see if it's still that way. So yeah. Alright, so let's get a look at the first impressions. It's a pretty nice little deck. You get your tape, you put that in there. One little thing, there's a bit of a problem with packaging, because this record level knob, it just came like with it not being on there. So what's funny though is that this record level knob has a bit of a center detent, which is kind of funny. And you got your noise reduction, which from what I hear is just a low pass filter. I think we'll put that to the test, but I think if it is, it kind of is. And of course the mechanism is the standard piano key type thing. Pretty simple. You get your 2 decks. It's a dual deck. It's not the absolute best, so so what I'm going to do now is, we're going to go in and plug it in, and I'll give it a bit of a sound check with some music that I can't really show on YouTube, but because copyright and all that. But I can kind of confirm how it would sound. So let's get right on with that. Oh, and another thing that I noticed that is kind of more evidence of how it's built is that of course it's got a switchable voltage thing. It's currently set to 120 volt or 115, which is for me because I'm from America, and it's the American plug. There's also the outputs, and there's the jacks and stuff. So it's got that, and and there's this remote system to amp. Now that's actually kind of funny because if you know anything about this deck, you'd know that, well, in fact, the reason why I bring it up and bring in so many other of the brand names that this is sold under. Yeah, what it is that this deck is actually the company who manufactures it. I think is known as, I don't know. The company who makes it also makes other audio equipment of the similar type, and it's like they have like one where it's like a radio tuner, a CD player, literally everything. So yeah. All right, so I gave it a nice little bit of a listen. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. You know, I'll be doing a few more direct feed type things later on in the video, but yeah, it sounds pretty good. You know, it has, you know, the speed is pretty okay. Again, like many of the other reviews said, this noise reduction is nothing more than just a low pass filter, so it sounds, yeah, it's not that great. It reduces noise, but also reduces the top end while doing it. So yeah, that's the big thing. Yeah. Alright, and with that being said, I have myself quite a few of these blank Maxell tapes here that you can still actually buy these. I'm surprised that, like, when I ordered this, there was, under the accessories, they literally had these exact tapes, which, now these are from, I think, mid-2000s, this model. Yeah, but what I'm going to do on this is I'm going to do a bit of a recording test. I'm going to put some YouTube audio library music, as well as some of the stuff I'm famous for using on this channel, onto this tape, so I have a good amount of time for that. Yeah, in fact, let's kind of open it here, because yeah, nothing better than the feel of opening a brand new cassette, I guess. If it will open. Yeah. But yeah, there we go. Alright. Fortunately though, it's not the most clean opening, because these haven't been opened in a while, but yeah. There we go. There we go, there's our new cassette. So, let's begin recording it. Alright, so as it was kind of obvious in the recordings and subsequent hearing of this tape of just YouTube stuff, yeah, it's not the absolute best at doing recordings, but from a listening standpoint, it's actually a pretty good thing. I did record it on this thing, so I'm not sure if I got it exactly right on how to get it done, because all I just did was just, you know, record, play, and have everything run, and yeah, it all works just fine. Yeah, because the only thing you get is a record level knob, and yeah, so you can't do things like do proper stuff like calibrate the tape and set the bias and all that, and you know, because it's a pretty simple deck. You know, again, with your noise reduction being being what it is, it's kind of there. One little thing that's been kind of pointed out many times before, the level meter. That is, that's literally just a, it's just a left plus right. It does record in proper stereo, which is actually a test that I did on it, but the level meter makes it look like it's stereo, but it's actually a mono. It's a combination of the two channels. It's I don't know. They could have done a little bit better in that regard, but I don't know. But anyways, yeah, so let's take a bit of a look at the mechanism in this thing, because I want to see what kind of mech this thing has in it. Alright, so looking inside of the deck itself, it's a pretty standard construction. I'm not going to look into too much of it. You know, there's your amp and control board thing over here, and you can see that there's the mech. These are rack mount things. But yeah, if you look at it, yeah, they've got the front control panel thing there, and then you got your two actual mechanisms on there. And these are still using the good mechanisms, as some people have pointed out. They have the CSG branding on them, which is, we don't know who they are, but they make a good cassette deck apparently in 2023 standards. So yeah, that's the insides of that, and yeah, quite a few things. Yeah, so it's a pretty interesting thing, and yeah. And let's just get it all closed up and finish off this review. Alright, so with that being said, how do I rate this? I'm going to give it roughly about an 8.5 or a 9, because there's definitely some improvements that could be made. Even though it's seen a bunch of improvements since it's been put out since the 90s. First off, the noise reduction. There are somewhat better noise reductions. I know Dolby's out of business or not out of business, but out of the noise reduction of games, so it's kind of useless, but there is dynamic noise reduction. Unfortunately though, because this is made by so many different manufacturers, and I don't think they'll ever really put that in there, but yeah. And yeah, there's also the level meters. They should really make it, it would really be a good idea to have it kind of like a proper stereo level meter, and yeah. But yeah, other than that, it's a pretty good deck. The recording's not the absolute best, but if your plan is to just digitize tapes, it's an excellent deck for doing just that. And so yeah, yeah. Alright, and with that being said, that's the end of today's video. If you like what you saw, there's a like button, a subscribe button. It exists. I post random content, so this is actually a very weird bit of content for me, and you know, completely different to a lot of the other stuff that I normally post. So yeah, but sometimes you might see different types of content. But yeah, you know, sometimes I do gaming, sometimes I do repair type videos, sometimes I do engineering type videos. It really depends on what I'm feeling like on that day, on the day that I need to get a video out. So yeah, and with that being said, that's it for today's video, and bye.